time. My watch shows 12:30, almost 12:31, with just a few seconds left till 0 on the seconds. And now 6, 7, 8, and doesn't stop. And maybe a person coincidentally has a similar morning like I did, sleeping good, sleeping late from all the hard work the night, from the day before, where, just trying to get as much done as your energy allows. Because there's a lot to get done, doing stuff to solve cancer and making geoengineering plans and trying to start a business called Blue Circle Technology in a place where people don't believe I exist. Having had cancer, having not ever done drugs, having not had an alcohol addiction, having not been joined, having had joined AA, and now I'm where I am and how I look because I've done the work to get better and healthy. Had the audacity to turn that button around when I shaved so that when I walked out of the bathroom I wasn't freezing cold and maybe gonna get sick again. And withstood the hitting on the wall and withstood the sheer freaking stupidness to have a name like Ebony Glover with their mail delivered that got sent to my mailbox, to have a name like Nathan Earl Dodd, to have a name like Hoshi, who may not be Ebony Glover, who may not be Nathan Earl Dodd, in a different circumstance, in a different situation, in a different part of the world. Gone down, thrown the trash out, made food, avocado, 2 eggs, chicken, bone broth, a little bit of ginger, soy, some bok choy that was in the refrigerator. Been proud because I made the food. Heard beeping outside, heard noise, had awareness, had attention, focus, and see the time on the clock above me on this video screen that says 7, 8, 9, 0, 3 minutes. Had to go pick up kids in a few hours from a school, gotten ready, did the dishes, left one in the sink, saw a pen on the floor, picked up the pen because it could be a hazard, I don't want to step on it or something and hurt my foot. Turned on the light, got the video ready, and had to wait to eat some food and hear, the sounds of this raggedy table because I don't have $1,000 desk and work for Google, Microsoft, Apple, or the government. And then met someone who does self-driving cars for a business like Google, taking care of their kids like they are kings and queens. Been paid extra during the holidays and been so thankful, but also more confused about what I can say about not only what I did with those children, which was great and brilliant and awesome and fantastic, except the video screens on the cell phones, the tablet where the kid was upside, the child was upside down on his head, his bent back visible where you could cringe and almost get nauseous with how his neck was turned and what he was actually watching while he was doing that activity, or if you want to describe it as a behavior. Seen the father, who's a nice man, get, sniffles and all these kinds of habits of, living like a barbarian with a sink that had god awful bacteria from a rag that had been left in there for a long time, with just food everywhere, the kitchen table, just food everywhere, and they're kings and queens in their castle. He's an engineer. And has that same sort of reaction to the world where he tenses up, and not just him. I'm sure there's more people like him who are trying to save their children's futures by making these kinds of objects like cars that self-drive, that keep the roads better and smoother, and there's less oil, less exhaust, and more electric. The Tesla in his garage, the Porsche he sold, he was making progress. All lives matter. And have you ever kept track of time during all of this work? 12:36, 50 seconds, 51 seconds, 3 seconds on my screen, 4 seconds, and had those two different indicators. But the fact, and what most people these days want to call the truth of picking kids up at school this afternoon in a few hours and having to get to their part of Seattle, their location in Magnolia, where you got to go over a bridge, through a neighborhood, down a hill, over some land, cross a street, watch for cars, because sometimes there'll be an electric Tesla that just goes whoosh, whoosh. And then you got to recover. And for me with diplopia, I get a little dizzy when those kinds of stuff happen. And have the memory once in a while of the AI man who was on the news, who has artificial intelligence in their neighborhood to keep people safe, because they are a separate part of Seattle, by the water, by Discovery Park, by an old U.S. Army base that's been shut down. Businesses for food, businesses for Starbucks coffee, businesses for Thai food, businesses to pump some weights, some karate for whoever needs it, Mexican food for the multicultural seeking food lover, bar and grill, sports. And have you ever stopped for a second during all of this activity and work, similar to what the engineer's doing at Google, to make the world better? And just taken a deep breath and gone down out of your brain for a second, out of your mind, and just felt your body breathe. And not had to go back up to your brain like I just did and start speaking again and explain, well, you can't talk with your body. You can do what the families that I've, had a hard time with their kids do, and teach their kids they just need to gesture, or, to let a person know, oh, there's something wrong up here. Maybe the attention and the eyes are too focused and concentrated. Maybe their face doesn't look like they're healthy. And then been bossed around by a spoiled, rotten girl who's tall and almost taller than the care provider. And known all along, this story I'm making on this video for school most likely will never ever have the viewership of some Alex Jones super mega podcast show on the radio that you can go to on the internet, the Joe Rogan Experience, where you can join 7 million subscribers in the Fortnite children's channel, or the other video game children's channel on YouTube, where there are no problems. Hormones in these circumstances are kept track of vigilantly, monitored. In a similar way as Alex Jones and other people talk about, the paranoia and the UFO phenomenons and some of the extraterrestrial stuff that people study where it gets to be kind of inconsistent and conspiracy theory-esque once in a while. Or all the time, arguably, Because I'd rather wait for my bone broth, my avocado, my 2 eggs, my leftover chicken bits, and my small amount of ginger and soy to cool. So to wrap up the rest of this video before I make the second video in a little while after I eat, get to a bus stop, try to make it to where I'm going to pick up kids and not get harassed or bullied or assaulted, or just flat out ran over. Has to do with how much work a person like me has to do in order to explain a simple part of the world. Outer space, where they're now seeing a new Big Bang, they just said, way far away. And on places, and planets where there's storms and stuff happening right now. And had to keep going with the thinking and the thoughts that I or whoever, in this similar kind of situation or circumstance has, that they're doing on a video like I am now for this YouTube channel called Have You Ever, for schools or for whoever, if people want to watch it too, no big deal, but it's mostly for medical schools, it's mostly for engineering schools, it's mostly for University of Washington. It's mostly for those institutions who will train me and let me be a professional at what I want to accomplish. And to do similar work as the Google engineer doing the Caltech educated work of self-driving cars, who I have no problem with, who I'm not picking on, who I'm not being critical of to make fun of their work or to say that they're incorrect, but for their all lives matter to mean more than the life that they're saying matters, with the excuse that they can't be everywhere at one time. They can't do it all, so they've got to make sure the social stuff in the world doesn't bother what they're doing. And so there's like this structure where you've got the top and you've got them not having to see the clock go to almost 14 and know, okay, I got to start to eat the cool parts of the food, put it in a box, take it with me, eat it with Milo when I get there, and prepare to pick up the children, clean the dishes in the sink, make the home a little tidy for them, because there's always bread on the counter and toast, the dad makes in the morning for the children with some cream cheese, and that's their habit, the mom does stuff the rest of the week, so it's like toast Mondays. But I don't try to hypothesize the rest of the week. They maybe do it the whole week, I don't know, but I've only got 15 minutes, so it's already 14 and 20 seconds, so it's like all this work I've been doing this morning to get ready for what I need to accomplish this afternoon, and that's to get some kids home, fed, well taken care of, dinner, and excited to do their homework. End part 1.